Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel and to our coffee times together. Today I'm here to quickly tell you about my favorite movies from 2019. So in 2019, I did not go to the movies as much as I wanted to. This is something I want to fix in 2020. I want to go and watch more new releases and bring you guys more movie reviews of new releases as well. And I'm also considering of making more kind of movie reviews of older horror movies and things like that maybe some of you do not know about. So we will see. But for now, because I didn't watch so many movies in the theater in 2019, my list is a little bit kind of focused on the ones that I did watch and really enjoyed. Most of them are horror, just be warned. Because that's what really, has my heart pumping. We love some horror, and I'm just gonna quickly go through them. So here are my 2019 favorite movies.
It's coffee time.
So my list has no particular order, so it's not like I'm gonna start with my least favorite to my most favorite. I just put together a list of the movies that I enjoyed the most. The first one being one that I know it's going to be in a lot of people's worst movies, but for me it was one of the best, and that is Brightburn. This is a dark take on the superhero story in which a couple that cannot conceive one night sees this light falling down from the sky, and they go to investigate, and they found this little baby, and they decide to adopt him and raise him as their own. And they start to realize when the kid is around 12 or so that he has some kind of special powers that might not be, good powers, that might be something evil and demonic to them. And I love this movie. I am aware it is a slow-paced movie, and a lot of people might have expected something else from the plot. But I thought it was a fantastic exploration of what would happen if instead of a superhero that it would have been Superman, we would have got somebody with dark powers that are being used for evil. So it's kind of like the counterbalance to Superman's story, and I loved it. And the gore is fantastic. Then we have Ari Aster's second full movie, and that is Midsommar. I love this movie so much. I loved it more than Hereditary, and it was so messed up. One of the things that I loved about this movie so much is that it is a movie mostly in the daylight with a lot of white, bright colors, but it is so dark. Like, it is a complete contrast to Hereditary when it comes to the atmosphere and the color combination, but it was so beautifully executed, and the story is so fascinating to me, and that ending was everything. And I love it so much. It is about this girl that is really having trouble with her family. Everything is shit, and she and her boyfriend are also having a crisis, and her boyfriend and his friends decide to go on this trip to Sweden to spend some time there in this summer festival that they have, and she decides to join them. And they go there and they find this village of people, but things start to go south when they're in this village, and things start to take a turn, and they realize that there is something darker in there. Next we have It Chapter 2, another one that I know not everybody's gonna put in their best movies of 2019, but me being the lover of Stephen King that I am, and having loved It Chapter 1 so much, I really think that Andy Muschietti did justice to the book, to the story, and to the characters, and I do believe that this was a perfect way of wrapping up all the stories of the kids when they were adults, and to give an end to Pennywise. So I really enjoy this movie, but it's again a movie that is very long. It might not be for everybody, but I think that he did a great job, and it's not easy to scare the audience when you are seeing adults fighting a clown. It was easier, I think, in It Chapter 1 for him to get this you know, effect on people, and in chapter 2 it was a bit harder for him. But I really appreciated that he didn't just take the same kind of horror that he used in the first chapter, and he tried new things, and I still really enjoyed it. Next we have Us by Jordan Peele. I love this movie so much. I liked it more than Get Out. Another controversial opinion, I guess, because I know a lot of people loved Get Out more. I loved Us so much. It is about this family that they go to this summer vacation to a house where they used to spend summer when they were kids, the parents, and now they go with their own children. And one night some strangers appear at their door, and it turns into kind of like a home invasion situation, but they realize that the strangers that come in look exactly like them. And this is such an intelligent movie, and there is so much in this movie that the more you watch it, the more things you see, and I love those kind of movies. And I thought also it was bloody enough, and it kept you interested, and the whole, you know, subliminal messages that you get are fantastic. I really enjoyed it. Next we have another movie that might be controversial for being in this list, and that is Dr. Sleep. Now this is the adaptation of Stephen King's novel, like follow-up novel to The Shining, but it also serves as a direct sequel to Kubrick's adaptation of The Shining. And I think the director did justice not just to the book but also to Kubrick's movie, and there's a lot of both things in the movie, which I really appreciated as a fan of the book, and I also love Kubrick's movie. So I really love this because it was such a good representation of the characters. The character exploration was fantastic. The darkness of the story was kind of not directly shown, but you could feel all the time the creepiness and the darkness, the nastiness of the story. And it is a movie that it makes you feel a lot of things. And like I said, I know it's not for everybody because it's a slow-paced movie, but I thought it was fantastically executed. These scenarios were beautifully shot, and I absolutely loved Ewan McGregor's performance as the older ex-alcoholic Danny Torrance. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. Next we have The Lodge. I know I've been talking a lot about this movie, praising it a lot, but I really loved it. What can I say? And it is about this dad and his children that, you know, the children are having a hard time to accept their new stepmother, and the dad decides that it would be a really good bonding time for the kids to spend a couple of days in this cabin abandoned in the middle of nowhere in the snow winter time, and, you know, just leave them there for a couple of days with his girlfriend. And while they're there alone, the three of them, some really weird things start to happen, and that's all I can tell you, not to spoil the plot for you. But I thought it was so intelligent, so brilliant, and it kept you wondering all the time and guessing all the time, and I really loved it. And if you love things like The Witch or Hereditary, you should definitely check this one out. Let's go for more controversial movies on this list, because I'm gonna put here Child's Play. And that is because I went into this movie thinking I was gonna hate it, and I loved it. And this serves as a remake and a reboot of the franchise, but I loved that they took something and they kind of kept things from the original story, but they made it original in a way. And the way that they took with making Chucky a robot and kind of modernizing the story worked so well. Plus it was bloodier than I expected, and I love that as well. So for me, it took a movie that is a classic that I always love, like Child's Play, and normally I don't like remakes or reboots that much, but this is definitely an exception for me because I'm a huge fan of this new take on Child's Play. Next we have Ready or Not, and I decided to include this movie on my list because it was a dark horror comedy that actually was hilarious while giving you really brutal deaths, and it was believable. It was scary. It was fantastic. I just loved the acting in this movie and everything about it. It was actually another one that really surprised me this year, and I decided to put it on my, favorite movies of 2019. It is about this girl that is marrying her boyfriend, and the boyfriend's family is a rich family that has built this fortune with games like board games and all of that. And so they decide on the wedding night that the whole family needs to play a game together, and they make her draw a card, and there is only one card that she's not supposed to draw, so that's the one that she's gonna pick, and that is to play a game of hide and seek. But in this particular game, actually she needs to hide for her life because everybody else is gonna hunt her to murder her. Next is another movie that a lot of people did not like, but I loved, and that is Glass. This is the third and final installment in the Unbreakable trilogy. Unbreakable came out a long time ago and I loved it, and then we got Split, one of the best movies, and we got Glass this year, and to be honest with you, I loved every minute of it, and I think it did the characters justice. I know a lot of people were not happy with the ending, but I was. Yeah, so another movie that I just purely enjoyed. I just love James McAvoy so much. I just love him so much playing this character. It just blows me away how talented this guy is. It's just insanity, and I think that's one of the factors that really made me love this movie, because I was in the cinema and the movie opens with James McAvoy and I was sold. I was like, okay, yes, favorite, thank you very much. So yeah, for me this was an amazing movie. Next we have Joker. What can I say about this movie? This is kind of like a drama movie about the exploration of somebody that has a mental health problem and how society can make somebody the way that they are. And it was just a masterpiece. It's going to be one of the best movies ever because it is just insane to see Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker, and the darkness of this movie and how beautiful it is, and how you empathize with a character that you should not empathize with because you know what he's doing is wrong, but you understand him, you get him, and you know where he's coming from, and it's just fantastic. Honestly, if I had to pick just one movie as my favorite of 2019, it would be this one, because it is just perfection. Like, everything about the movie is perfect, and it just, you get into this kind of trance when you're watching this movie, and it is brutal, and at moments it makes you laugh and it makes you sad. If you have not watched this movie yet, please do, because honestly it's the best movie released in 2019. And I wanted to include in this video one movie from DC and one movie from Marvel, which are franchises that I obviously really enjoy. So for DC, and everybody's gonna be a bit surprised, I'm gonna pick Shazam, because this could be the next perfect Christmas kind of feel-good story that you would rewatch over Christmas every year. That would work perfectly. And I chose this one because it was a superhero story that was done different from anything else that DC has put up out there, and it was funny as heck. And it's one of those movies that you could rewatch over and over again and just have fun with it, and it was just a great movie. And the one that I've picked for Marvel is obviously Avengers Endgame. Now, if you gotta choose, probably Infinity War was better just because it had a bit more kind of plot and intricacy to it, but Endgame was such a good ending, wrapping up everything, doing justice to the characters, and it made me emotional a couple times, and it was just a great experience. Obviously nothing too new or anything from the Marvel universe because we've already seen this. Obviously it was an extremely high budget production, and you know everything's gonna be great and perfect and the effects are gonna be amazing, but it also focused a little bit on the characters and it made you feel all the feels, which I really appreciated, and I thought it was the perfect ending to the Avenger movies. Honorable mentions are for 4 other movies that I really enjoyed this year and that I did watch in the theater, and those are Escape Room, which is getting a second part in 2020. I also really enjoyed The Furies. I also really enjoyed The There because it surprised me, and I did a movie review of that one. I'm gonna leave it linked up there for you guys. And the last one that I would like to mention is Freaks, because I love that it mixed kind of sci-fi and horror and it brought up something a little bit different. And this was my list of my favorite 2019 releases that I actually went and watched in the theater. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know down below your thoughts on the movies. I'm pretty sure that some that I mentioned here you thought were horrible, but that's totally fine. Let me know which was for you the best, maybe top 5 movies of 2019. Let me know in the comments down below. And before you leave, please remember to give the video a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and also remember to hit the notification bell. If you want to follow me on other social media, I do have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The links to those can be found in the description box down below, and I hope to see you all in the next coffee time. Bye!